Every night, millions of men send the same message. Goodnight. It feels harmless. It feels polite. It even feels caring. But what if I told you that one simple message could be silently killing attraction? Not because it's wrong, but because it's predictable. And predictability is the fastest way to become forgettable. Because the truth is, people don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what leaves them thinking. So if she reads your message, smiles, and then goes to sleep without a second thought, you're not building attraction, you're closing the door on it. Today, we're breaking down something most men never question: the psychology of what I call the low-value ping, and more importantly, the 3 Stoic principles that will make your absence more powerful than your presence. So before we go deeper, if you're serious about mastering attraction, discipline, and self-control as a man, subscribe to Stoic Golden Tribe, because this is where weak habits end and strong men are built. Now let's get into it. Most men don't lose attraction because they say the wrong thing. They lose it because they say too little that matters. The Goodnight text is the perfect example of this. On the surface, it looks harmless, but underneath, it carries a hidden message, a message that says, I'm here, I'm available, I have nothing else going on. And over time, that message lowers your perceived value, not because you care, but because you've made your presence too easy to access. You see, in psychology, the human mind places higher value on what feels limited, on what feels earned, on what isn't constantly available. This is why people don't obsess over what they already have. They obsess over what they might lose. But when you send a predictable message every single night, you remove that feeling completely. There's no uncertainty, no tension, no curiosity, just routine. And routine is the silent killer of attraction. Because attraction isn't built on repetition. It's built on emotional spikes, moments that break patterns, moments that make someone pause and think about you longer than expected. But a goodnight text does the opposite. It closes the interaction. It signals the end. It tells her mind there's nothing more to explore here. And when there's nothing left to explore, interest slowly fades. This is what I call the low-value ping, a message that requires no effort, creates no emotion, and leaves no lasting impression. And the dangerous part is, most men send it thinking they're doing something right, when in reality, they're training themselves to be ignored. Have you ever noticed a conversation losing energy, even when you were doing everything right? Comment "aware" if this hit you. Here's the first shift you need to make. Stop ending conversations the way everyone else does. Most men wait until the energy dies, and then send a goodnight text to close things off. But by that point, it's already too late. The moment has passed. The emotion is gone. The conversation is flat. And now you're just ending something that already ended. High-value men don't do that. They understand one simple principle. The ending is what people remember most, not the middle, not the small talk, not the routine, the ending. So instead of closing the conversation when it's dead, you end it when it's still alive, right when the energy is high, right when she's engaged, right when the conversation feels effortless. That's when you step away. Not with a dry goodnight, but with something that leaves the door slightly open. Because when you end on a high point, you create something powerful, an unfinished moment. And the human mind hates unfinished moments. It keeps replaying them, thinking about them, wanting to continue them. This is how anticipation is built, not by saying more, but by knowing when to say less. Instead of closing the loop, you leave it slightly open. Instead of giving her a predictable ending, you give her something to think about, something like, "I'll tell you the rest another time," or "Remind me to finish this story. You'll like it." Now suddenly, You're not just another conversation she had today. You're the one that didn't fully finish. The one her mind keeps going back to. And that is where attraction starts to grow again. Because you've shifted from being available to being intriguing, from being predictable to being remembered. Have you ever ended a conversation too late and felt the energy drop? Comment timing if you understand this shift. At this point, most men make a mistake. They hear, "Don't be predictable," and immediately start playing games. They delay replies, they act distant, they try to manufacture mystery. But that's not power, that's insecurity in disguise, because real unpredictability isn't forced, it's natural. It comes from having a life that doesn't revolve around one person, a life with purpose, with direction, with things that actually demand your attention. So you're not acting unavailable, you are unavailable because your time has value. This is the difference most men never understand. You don't create attraction by manipulating behavior. You create it by building a life that makes your behavior unpredictable by default. Some nights, you reply. Some nights, you don't. Not because you're playing games, but because your world doesn't pause for anyone. And when that's real, people feel it. They sense that you're not chasing, not waiting, not structuring your life around constant communication. And that alone changes how they see you, because now your attention is no longer guaranteed, and attention that isn't guaranteed becomes valuable. So instead of ending every night with the same routine, you replace it with intention. Some nights you say nothing at all. Other nights you leave a thought that lingers, a line that sparks curiosity, a moment that doesn't fully close, not for the sake of strategy, but because you understand something deeper. Presence creates comfort, but absence creates desire. And when you balance both, that's when you become unforgettable. Be honest, do you tend to over-communicate or disappear too much? Comment balance if you're ready to fix it. Attraction was never about saying more. It was about saying what matters and knowing when to stop. Most men lose their edge, not because they care too much, but because they show it in ways that remove all mystery. And once the mystery is gone, so is the desire to discover you. So the next time you feel the urge to send that routine message, pause. Ask yourself, am I adding value or just filling silence? Because silence, when used correctly, is power. If you're serious about becoming a man who is respected, desired, and never taken for granted, subscribe to Stoic Golden Tribe, because here, we don't chase attention, we build presence, stay disciplined, stay unpredictable, stay in control,